Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Firo Fortnight. We try to do this once every 2 weeks, but obviously it's kind of fallen by the wayside. Uh, Definitely all my fault because it's a bit perfectionist, and when I'm traveling, it's a bit hard. But I decided that notwithstanding rather than trying to get it perfect, it's better to just do in a very conversation, informal style to keep you updated on what's been happening in the Firo world. Because there's a lot that has happened, and I think it's better for regular informal updates rather than scripted, very planned ones that take a month in between. So yeah, welcome. And I think the first thing you can do is, if you like these updates, if you like the content that we are putting out, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. That's a free way to support it. And if you click the bell button, you're going to get informed of every new video. Quite a lot of effort is being put, especially with the Firo with Friends videos. Actually travel to the places in a totally different another city. We have to plan things out. We have to have a professional photographer come. So a lot of work actually goes into making those videos. So yeah, do check them out. It's actually a lot of fun, and you can put them in the background and learn maybe something new. So yeah, let's kind of get into some of the things I wanted to talk about. Development has been actually going quite smoothly. You can always check in the forums our weekly development minutes, where we actually post, weekly updates, summarized updates of what our developers have been working on. And I guess in short, what we've been working over the past, I would say one month or so, is getting ready Spark assets for testnet. We're really excited. We actually have most of the things working. The UI is not where I want it to be, but most of the functionality is there and working. Some of the other things that we've also been working on is getting instant send. So in Firo, all transactions are sent using instant send, which is a dash technology, which means every single transaction is final within a couple of seconds. You don't even have to wait for a block confirmation. But that's not often displayed within the Campfire and Stack wallets. So we actually been working to get that. Actually, let me just scroll down here. We're actually working to get that into the Stack and Campfire wallet. They have a display so that you know that even though there's no block confirmation, that transaction is final and safe. So that, I think most of the work has been done there. It should be out in a couple of weeks. Aleph has obviously been working on really improving our build system, modernizing all the nice way to make sure that we get reliable and modern builds, right? Geralt has been finishing up the spats, which is the smart asset stuff, and getting ready for a testnet launch really soon. The other thing that we're actually working on is that, we know that the QT wallet looks dated, right? And obviously it's been Bitcoin Core uses QT, but it looks rather dated, and we rather move towards the modern interface that Stack Wallet or Campfire provides. And so Samizdat is working on that so that you can use FiroD, that means a full node support with all the features within Campfire and Stack Wallet. And that would also include master node monitoring and management support. So you want to do your ProTX register, you want to register a new master node, you want to update it. That all should be able to be done from Campfire or Stack Wallet, and that's what we're aiming for. The other thing that we are preparing for is the next hard fork, which would include Spark name transfer. So currently, when you register a Spark name, you cannot transfer it to a third party. But with this new protocol, you can swap and sell, and basically, transfer the ownership of a Spark name to someone else. So remember, with our Spark names, unlike other types of aliases, because privacy is protected, but you also only can register a Spark name on the address that you own. You need to provide a proof of ownership. So that makes sure that you know that whoever registered that address or that alias Spark name actually owned the address that registered it to. The other thing that we are also implementing is reducing the GPU limits for what we call Firo power, or which is a variant of prompt power. So there was a discussion in our forums. Let me take a look. Where is that? Give me a moment. Yeah, we had a poll. And basically, let's see, can I see the results? Yeah. Most people voted to keep it locked at 8 gigabytes. All the rationale is here. I'm not going to run through it. And the idea is to make sure that mining Firo remains accessible, because not all GPUs, like previously we thought that GPU RAM would keep on going up. But while it is going up, it is not as fast as the thing. And as a result, that only if you have a very modern and mid-range GPU, you can mine Firo. And nowadays, mid-range GPUs cost quite a lot of money. So we want to make sure that you still can mine Firo with a regular, more or less quite modern card. So most of you voted to reduce it to allow 8 gigabyte cards. So we've been working to implement that. Yeah. And that should basically cover that next hard fork. And Peter has been working a lot to make so you notice that if you have a lot of transactions, you actually notice that the wallet kind of freezes for a bit while it's verifying all the transactions. So we are doing quite a lot of work to make that more efficient so that the wallet doesn't freeze up when you get a lot of Spark transactions. So that's what that ZK proof refactor is. Yeah. Obviously, we still have that partnership with Confidential Layer. And for those of you who don't know, Confidential Layer is this separate project not related to us that allows you to bridge assets from like Ethereum or Solana or whatnot into Firo, right? So that means once we have Spark assets, let's say you have USDT, you can bridge it over. So we have, I think Confidential Layer is about to launch first with the Xano integration, but we're working closely with them to explore that integration because we have partnered with them. They have expressed willingness to implement that, and there'll be a really, really cool use case for Spark assets out of the gate. That means, yes, we have users creating their own Spark assets, but you can bridge other assets from Ethereum or other chains right into Firo's Spark asset layer, which really makes us kind of like privacy infrastructure. So yeah, that's kind of like it. What we've been actually working on. Obviously, also the Encrypt. There's this Encrypt wallet, which is a browser extension wallet, right? And we're being integrated with them with full privacy support. That means it supports all the Spark assets and stuff like that. So we'll be actually displayed here, and you can basically send and receive Firo directly within your extension. It's been delayed for quite a bit. It was more complex than it was anticipated, but I think we're pretty near to the finish line. So pretty excited about that. Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, also remember that, we run a bi-weekly newsletter. So yeah, if you want to get our news updates, subscribe to FiroFrontier from the newsletter.firo.org. And that's actually done by one of our community members, Zed, which tries to summarize what has happened in the past couple of weeks. So yeah. Another thing that's actually been quite interesting is this recent claim that that Monero is under attack. Now it's a bit more complex than than what is being expressed here. But the idea is that basically there's this other project called Qubic. And if you take a look, maybe it's good to just, yeah. So Qubic is this other coin. And if you basically mine it, you get, they can actually get the Monero and they'll sell the Monero and use that proceeds to buy their own Qubic coin. Now, this is not an endorsement of it. It comes out as a bit like Ponzi like, right? They call it the flywheel to keep pumping the price and whatnot. But it's actually costs a lot of the hash rate of Monero to go towards Qubic pool, rising as high as 40%. That means it's actually really close to 51% attack. So if you have 51% of the hash rate, technically you can reorg the chain. And Monero is a pure proof of work chain. So, you can actually attack it, right? I mean, Firo has been attacked by a 51% attack before we implemented this hybrid model. Now, obviously, maybe the chance of a real attack isn't there, but there is a potential, right? If you can see if a mining pool is able to acquire 51% of the hash rate, technically they can cause like a reorganization in their favor, right? Now obviously this thing, is a bit of fluff and promotion for Qubic, but it does highlight a weakness of the proof of work model, right? And it also kind of reinforces why Firo, which used to be very pro miners, now have as a community deprioritize miners, because miners in the past used to be, real participants in the economy. They'll mine, they'll get involved in the community and actually give back, right? But nowadays, miners are more about what can give me the most bang for buck. I don't care what I'm mining. I'm going to convert it into Bitcoin or US dollars, right? So they will mine whatever gives them the most return without actually caring about the ecosystem and stuff like that. So within Firo, we saw most of this hash rate being, focused on one pool, with even 80 to 90% of the hash rate being focused on one pool. And if we were a pure proof of work coin, that would be a concern. But because we're a hybrid, that means even if you compromise the mining, you still have to compromise a significant proportion of the masternode network. But here, Monero is pure proof of work, so it does have that weakness, I would say. And there's actually a lot of write-ups on Twitter that talk about this, and even Firo is mentioned. Well, actually, because I'm not logged in through this incognito window, you actually see that the hybrid model gives a nice balance of the decentralization of proof of work and the accessibility, while still retaining a good amount of security. So yeah, this is something that Monero has been facing, and now there's some talk of maybe moving to a hybrid model. And look, we figured this out a long time ago. We acknowledged the problem, and we already have a solution, which I think works really well. So to me, yes, this is kind of like a bit of a fluff piece for Qubic, but at the same time, that proof of work there is a real threat here. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I thought that was really interesting. So do you look up this guy DDA Daddy Bio and see whether you agree with him or not? Another thing I kind of want to highlight is this happened a while back, but we're actually seeing quite some usage of it. I don't know if it's using off this interface specifically, but we've seen swaps, atomic swaps through FiroDex, which is a fork of Komodo wallet. And Zencash was, kind enough to set this up as a volunteer. And if you go to FiroDex.fans, Uh, yeah. It takes a quick while to load on the first load, but after that it becomes normal. Actually, I've already loaded it here. So yeah, here this is how it looks like. Let's see. Yeah. So it looks correctly. But so be patient on the first load. It takes less than a minute, just a little bit of time. And you can actually swap totally, without any middleman directly from, various coins from Bitcoin to, Firo. And all of that is done through atomic swaps. And it happens like a whole swap can happen, in less than 20 to 30 minutes. It's actually probably faster than a centralized exchange if you count in the deposit, the withdrawal, and stuff like that. So this is we used to have to require a desktop interface for this, but now you can directly access it through a web browser, and you just need to load your seed here. Obviously, I don't recommend you to use your main seed. You just use it like an exchange. Don't put what you aren't going to swap into there. And yeah, you can like play around with it and swap some assets. And I think that's really cool. So you can try it at FiroDex.fans. There is a wallet. If you want to host it yourself, you can actually do it from here and just host it yourself. So remember, anyone, if you're using like FiroDex fans or you're using the Komodo's official one here, they can log all your IP addresses. So it's actually recommended for you to use a VPN or Tor and connect to it so that your swaps aren't tied to a particular transaction. But I really think this is pretty damn cool. So yeah, you should really give it a go. And again, thanks to Zencash for hosting this. And this is all nicely teamed in FiroDex. So yeah, that's really nice. Directly from your web browser, which is why we're actually deprecating the desktop version. Another thing that I actually want you guys to take a look at is this particular WizardSwap. So I've been using WizardSwap a lot, and what is one of the places which actually supports full Spark address. So you can swap directly from Spark and then receive also in Spark. So like, for example, if I want to say, I want to set 100 Firo, right? I can exchange. Oops. And this is done, obviously, this is a custodial service, right? But the fact that you can, let's just do this 0.05. How much should you get? Okay, 9,000. So let's say, let me just put some Spark address inside here just to show it to you, right? So it's at WizardSwap.io. And what you see is that, you just deposit your Bitcoin here and you'll get this Firo directly to your Spark address. And obviously, this can all be done. It's one of the better ways to swap, especially between Bitcoin and Firo. And actually, we've seen a lot. One of the very interesting things that I'm seeing a lot of swaps from Monero to Firo, and we're talking about serious amounts like 200 to 300 Monero buying Firo. So, people are actively converting Miro to Firo. I don't know why, but it shows that, hey, there's a lot of people who like Monero who also like Firo. Like, we're talking quite big amounts, and I've seen a lot of big swaps happening through WizardSwap. So this is a really good thing. And if you ask about how do I know this, because everything's hidden on chain, you can actually talk to them on Simplex and say that, hey, I want to provide some liquidity. And whenever I do provide the liquidity to it, it gets swapped to Monero mostly or Bitcoin. So I think that's really cool. You can see that it's quite a lot available. Yeah. So give WizardSwap a try. They've been actually implementing quite a lot of things. I know what they are trying to do next is to implement our instant send so that the swaps will happen a lot quickly and the deposits get reflected almost instantaneously. So stay tuned for that. Another cool thing is that in Syria, there's been some community members that have been working to get Firo accepted in Syria. Syria is like war torn. We have a couple of community members there. They even managed to get this accepted in one of the larger stores in Homs Governorate. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. They also set both Monero and Firo. And yeah, this is really nice to see like real adoption happening. As they don't have electricity, you don't have water, so you can see all these are actually like solar systems and that will power water pumps to draw water from the well. We are very thankful. Most of us would have running water and electricity, but in Syria, a lot of the infrastructure is down and they rely on things like this. And it's quite interesting to see a lot of these vendors a lot more open to accept cryptocurrencies, especially private cryptocurrencies. So really interesting to see this happening. So yeah. So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Oh yeah, the CFC, the Community Fund Committee, is having its elections. I think there's only like a couple of weeks more for that. So if you are interested to nominate yourself for the Community Fund Committee, this is our 4th year. It's been a while. The Community Fund Committee has funded a lot of stuff like Vostos work with all, this nice background, Sparky, and like you see all this graphics. He does it. This mascot was also done by him. Even this T-shirt was designed by him. That's all funded by the Community Fund Committee. We funded like a couple other things like audits and stuff like that. So the Community Fund Committee is totally independent from the core team. None of the core team members can be on the committee. And that fund is is separate from the core teams. So these are the current CFC members. Some of them are revisiting, I think they're re-nominating themselves for the next month. But yeah, so I think there is one more week to put in your nomination, and if there's more than 7, there'll be a voting runoff. So yeah, don't forget to get your nomination in as soon as possible if you're interested. It's not a paid position, so you have to be passionate about Firo to join, right? And then yeah, I really hope to see more of you there. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Hopefully we have some cool new things to announce really soon. Yeah, and I'll cover more about the ecosystem, like Biconomy, non-KYC.io, especially those that support Spark addresses, and see how that goes. Also, if you have any questions for me, if you have any any sort of like things that you want answered, as long as it's respectful, I will answer them in the comments. Again, thanks so much for sticking us on this journey. And we have been fighting for this mission for a long time, and I think our product is getting really good. So, and you can see that a lot of the things that Monero is trying to do, we have done it before, right? So, better privacy protocol, fast transactions, hybrid model, all these really interesting things. So yeah, and I hope do enjoy using Firo as much as I enjoy building it with our whole team. So yeah, that wraps it up, and have a great one. Take care. Bye.